Hello, everybody. Good evening. This is Dr. Rao, and this is going to be the okay. I'm starting the room on the clubhouse too. Just give me a minute, please. Okay.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing Sparky. How are you?
I'm fine. Dr. Rowe.
Yeah.
This is Zahar. How you doing, Zahar? Said, I have one question for you.
Uh huh.
It has nothing to do with your subject, but how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Oh, that's wonderful. I want to ask you this question. That I want to do a topic about. What do you do when your family don't approve of your marriage?
Huh. So why is that concerned with that? Because marriage is individual here, right? So.
But why I'm concerned, I just thought about it because I told my mom about this guy that I left. I was thinking about marrying him. And so I don't think she's going to approve of it.
Okay. Yeah, that's your personal matter, right? So here we are talking about mind and how to not to be agitated and all that. Okay, so
Okay, Dr. Rowe.
yeah.
Is that saying your name right? Rowe? How you say your name?
Dr. Rao.
Rao. Oh, I said it wrong. Sorry. But it's nice talking with you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Sparkle. It means you shine bright wherever you go, so you're Sparkle.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, Angela. Welcome.
Yes. Hi.
How are you?
Bye. Let's applaud you for your goodness. That's
Bye.
great.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody came there, so. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna leave.
Okay. Somebody came up and she was asking a question, so that's okay. So,
I thought maybe you was on LinkedIn too. That's why you were raising my hand.
yeah, no, this I was on Wisdom also, so some lady came and then she was greeting me, so that's okay. Yeah, how are you, Angela?
I'm okay. I'm good. And yourself?
I'm great, great. Okay, I had some, I did a video on what is the good about giving, so from the ancient wisdom to modern times, how it is going to be useful for us. Okay, so I kind of talked about that. Uh, so it's a nice video that I came up, and that tells you the all the things I wanted to tell about what happens neurologically, what happens psychologically, what happens to the work atmosphere around, and all that is there. Um, I kind of posted it in several places. I have to send it to you. I will, then you can see that. Okay. This is posted in LinkedIn. Are you following me on LinkedIn, Angela?
Yes, I was starting to look at it a few minutes ago, but until you started the room.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the picture you had there. I was starting to get into it, but I came over.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. And so you can see that later if you want to. I think you'll like it because you understand the spirit of giving and how that is good for us and all that, right? Um, I really had that experience from the childhood when I saw all these people willingly giving to other people. My mom herself, she used to feed everybody that comes to the house. That is our habit, all the time. And we had this big house, right? So after my father died, my mom kind of rented all the big palace-like house at the bottom, and the top floor they have put some new rooms and stayed there. So we had to rent it out because we don't need that big a house at the time, I believe. But then that office is guarded by these night watchmen, they call them. They were there all the time. And she used to go and feed them the food that she was supposed to eat. She used to feed them. And then when we asked her a question, she used to say, I feel satisfied when I feed people. When I give my food to those people, those kids are eating, and I feel very happy about it. So it's kind of maybe rubbed into my psyche or whatever. So I kind of discovered that in the social media too. When we come and then openly share something and give something that makes us feel good, because there's a neuroscience background. Good, happy hormones we secrete when we give. You know, so that's why I wrote that article. So and then I made that video also on that. So there is an article there, so you can look it up too. Okay. So today
you made a video too out of it?
Yeah, 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 yeah. There's an article there too, and then there's a video. Both of them are there. So let's call Ivy. So let's see. I invited her, so I think she's or somebody who is going to enjoy this. Hi, Ivy.
Oh my God, it's so loud on here.
Is it?
Yeah, I have to turn my volume down. Hi,
yeah. So I was just telling.
Angela.
I was just telling Angela about a article and a video. I put it out on giving and the good effects of giving and all that. So you can check it out on my LinkedIn, Ivy, if you want to. Okay, later on. I did not bring it here to post it here. But anyway, today is my last day on this topic, on this calming the mind.
Today is last day.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, I said 40 days, right? Today is the 40th day, so that's nice. Something I accomplished, right? If not anything. So I hope more people are cultivating this habit of trying to, calm their mind as a habit, because that has become a real important thing, these days. People are not really doing that, So anyway, what it is we were always talking about the calming the mind as a reaction to the information overload. But actually, I'm going to go a little deeper into that today. It's not just about just calming it down for the sake of calming it, but then what are the consequences after you calm your mind down and then go into kind of a quiet and silent mind, and that leads to bigger states of consciousness, which are really expanding your consciousness to real deep awareness. And with the awareness, you really see things much, much differently than when you're caught in the network of thought, So you're more open and more seeing of things than just your senses or your conditioning, that are not there. You may look at somebody saying something with a complete different perspective, and that will be very good, in so many ways. So it's not about chattering. It is not about chattering from our own erudition, like a bookish knowledge and all that. But then the experiential knowledge will be more when you are calming this kind of superficial chatter. There are ways to do that, but I always talk about yoga. In that, the system, I don't know you are familiar with it or not, Raja Yoga. Are you guys familiar with it, Angela, Ivy, both of you? It's called King of Yogas.
I'm not familiar, but you could tell me about it.
Yeah.
And I it's probably because he had it on wisdom too. She said it was loud because it was like a couple of us.
No. I think her volume was high, probably. So that she cut it down. Okay. Ivy, are you okay now? volume is okay for you?
Yeah, it's okay. I just have to turn it down because you see, right? When I go at the audience, every room I go in, I have to turn my volume to very high up.
Ah, okay.
To the maximum to be able to hear, coherently what you're saying.
Yeah.
The volume very low when you're at the audience.
I think there's a change.
On stage, all of a sudden it went to
high.
100% higher.
The volume is high when you come up on this stage, though.
Yeah.
That much I know.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's when you're not used to it.
Yeah. It is too loud all of a sudden. Yeah, that's uncomfortable, right? Uh, so I was talking.
That usually happens when you come on the stage.
Yeah.
I usually tell people when they're down in the garden, I said when you come up on the stage, you can hear even more clear because it gets louder.
Exactly. This the type of yoga I'm talking about is kind of referred to by modern people also when they were talking about matters of concentration, matters of attention. There was one book that was written with the title Flow. Mikhailov is something like a Russian name. I always spell it wrong, but he was wonderful. And he is somebody who had spent a lot of time on the systems of attention, concentration, and really awareness and all that, right? And he mentioned this particular type of yoga that is by Patanjali. That is the writer's name. That what he wrote was the best possible available for the concentration and focus, right? He wrote this book, Flow. If you guys want to look at it, I strongly recommend you look at that because it's not about just yoga, but he mentions in the book. But the flow itself, that book is very, very good, to read about. So what it is this particular Patanjali Yoga Sutra. That is the maybe you can have a discussion group on that because you always do these discussion groups, right? I think that will be something you may want to do that. Uh, in that, actually, he wrote three different, very, very classic books, right? One of them is this Patanjali Yoga Sutras. This is written for the mind, its afflictions, its vagaries, its problems, toxicity. All those things are discussed in detail. It's a very tough book because it only has 195 aphorisms. Each one is a one or two lines. But each aphorism is so deep, people can talk 3-4 months on each one particular stanza, right? So it's that deep. But then the book, other books he wrote, one was for the Ayurveda, that's for the body. And then he wrote one for Sanskrit, language about that book. So he's very, very adept at mind, speech, and the body. In this book, he kind of describes 8 steps to reach this very, very silent mind, or the mind that is really focused completely, where there are no thoughts but just pure awareness, pure consciousness. It's a pretty big deal in yoga circles. This is considered like a Bible in Christianity, or Gita in Hinduism, or Quran in this one, like that. In yoga itself, this is considered like a Bible, very big book. But I will tell you briefly what it is. There are 8 steps. Of the 8 steps, the first one is called yama. Those are the principles where you want to live in the society in harmony. That is by not being violent, not being lying or like anything like that, and then not stealing, not coveting or accumulating of things, and also uh, really really taking care of the society rules and regulations and not harming in any way. That's how you behave with your surroundings. That saves the energy for the mind. That's the thing. Other thing is celibacy also involved in that. Okay. Ahimsa, that is the non-violence. Satya, that is truth. Asteya, non-stealing, you know, and then brahmacharya, which is celibacy, and then aparigraha, that's the non-accumulation of things. Okay, first you have this, from then you go to the next step, which is the second step, which is called niyama. That is principles by which your interior lives, like a saucha, which is cleanliness of the body and mind, and santosha, which is contentment, and swadhyaya, that is study of your own self and also self through the bigger self. That's one. And then saucha, santosha, and swadhyaya, and tapas. That is like a you are focused on one thing, and you are having austerity measures whereby your mind doesn't spend unnecessary energy. And then. Ishvara Pranidhana. That is, you are dedicated to the God or to whatever force you think is running the world, whatever it is. Like, so these kind of five principles that you follow to have your inner mind is not really moving around that much. Okay. So all these principles outside, principles inside are the first two, like a 10 commandments, like, right? And then the third one is asana, that is body posture. Here, he doesn't talk about all these big postures everybody do and all. All he talks about is sit and be able to meditate. This is about mind, right? That's why. Sthira Sukham Asana. That means stable, sit down, comfortably sit down. Okay. In this posture, you will have your spine erect, and so that your energies flow properly to the brain, and you can meditate. The whole thing is about studying the mind, by mind, right? And then uh, pranayama, that is the breathing properly and controlling the energy that way. So for now, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. And then the fifth one is, which is called pratyahara. That means you withdraw the sensory stimuli and then not being affected by it. And then you are telling the mind, I'm going to do something. The last three steps are for the mind. Dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Dharana is where you will have only one track thinking. Okay, like you only think one way. And then in dhyana, with that one track thinking, you go to one thought and stay only with one thought. And that is called dhyana, the very important step. And then the final step is called samadhi, when you stay with one thought for 144 seconds, and then you will go into the deeper states of consciousness. And then in samadhi, there are several stages. First of all, not able to control thought, not able to stay with one thought is a big deal for a lot of people. But then with several years of practice, people do that. That means you have to withdraw from external things and then go and do that, right? So anyway, those are the steps that they describe. Ultimately, what it is it all starts with really conserving energy in our dealing with our society, and also not wasting it, doing appropriately, and also keeping our inner self like that, and then keeping our body fit enough so that we can sit longer and control energy through the breathing, and then withdraw our senses from whatever we're doing. Then you kind of go into your interior and then look at the way how it is all the energy spent and not spent and all that. One of the big things is this scrambled thought, the thought that goes all over, for all over the things. You don't have any particular aim, and then you'll be thinking all the time. That is a real waste of energy, and also it doesn't lead to any particular thing. But that you remember, we were talking about observer and observed. In dhyana, what happens is you focus on one object, and then to the extent where that observed object becomes one with the observer who is observing it. That is where it came from, actually. So once you are completely with it, there is no object anymore. You are with it, right? And then you go beyond it, then you go into this samadhi states where there are so many different kind of, that's very complicated probably. But then this kind of tranquility and harmony that you feel in that particular state is very healing. Even if you touch for a few seconds in the morning and few seconds in the evening, it's very, very enriching and energizing too. Uh, for example, you kind of get into the morning, you will be going and working at the workplace, whatever you are doing routinely and all that. But then this silence gives you such an enormous boost, and you will be energetic till the evening. That's my subjective experiential thing. That's why I'm telling you that. Okay. So it's all a question of understanding the system and then really following it for years. People do that, and then they have experiences. Not everybody, but there are masters who are really exemplified that, and those people's minds are so influential other people, even in their periphery, in their if you say near them and in their presence, your mind is really quieted down without any effort like this. So that's the benefit of it. So don't let the mind go all over just because our modern society has evolved into dishing out a lot of information. So we are discriminating about what is good for us, what is not good for us. Then we always be, thinking the right things or thinking the minimum things, and then also enjoying the silence that we can eventually lead into. See, that is the purpose of why I was bringing so much importance to calmness in this present time, because we are going the other way. Whereas ancients went into the internal part of it and inner, they always realized that is what is inside. And then they kind of had this benefit of this bliss that happens when you are with this kind of practices. So, Ivy, any questions or any comments at this stage? Angela?
No, I enjoy hearing that. Yeah, I know the last one I always thought to be silent. I was watching the shirt outside. It wouldn't make noise as it was talking.
Oh, okay. So, so that's why we don't want to get lost in this modern uh, ways of throwing all the stuff at us, and then the more data it is, the more noisy people are becoming, right? So it's a very commonsensical thing that we could do, and a lot of people are doing it, but some people may not know about it. That's why I'm presenting this as an important thing that we should do. Like, we rest our body, we exercise our body, we feed our body like that. You got to take care of the mind too, to what kind of toxic things you are exposing yourself, the violent movies or the, propaganda movies, or people are talking about different things to have their own monetary or whatever commercial thing they're proposing. There's constant distractions about in the social media about selling their products, right? So they want our attention, because and then the attention you give so many people, then your attention span is going down. That's the danger too. That's actually happening. By the way, today I saw the Surgeon General Vivek Murthy. He came on the TV and he was talking about the epidemic of loneliness. Have you seen that? Any of you?
No, I don't watch TV. I'm sorry, go ahead, Irene. I don't watch TV.
Yeah, okay. But this report is serious because it is true that loneliness in the modern world, and especially in America, where I live, I find tremendous amount of loneliness. People are cut off from everything, And people used to have conversations. Now they have texting, right? And all that, either way, people are more occupied with the devices, with the things that are coming out. So that has resulted in erosion of personal relationships, and people are even our conversations, we have them, many people come and go, they don't even know what they are getting into. They want to stay and listen a little bit, it's always like they are going from one to other all the time, so that kind of distractions are very harmful to us. So people are not aware of it, they get sucked into it, and later on, it becomes a habit for them to listen to all this unnecessary information or misinformation, anything like that. So that is the danger that we are falling into. On the other hand, if you can really direct your thinking to the meaningful things in your life and then do them and then rest up and then rest your mind, um, one of the things that ancients did that was kind of kept secret, or people did find it very tough, is by working on your mind, by keeping it quiet, you can touch inner silence, which is very, very energetic. And that's what I'm talking about. Subjectively, I am always in that mode. That's why not much energy is expended. And I come here, I want to communicate with my friends, I'm going to express myself. But when I'm alone myself, lots of time I'm kind of quiet and calm, even in the hospital also, when I don't need to talk, I shut up and then I kind of keep quiet. There is a real nurturing energy when you do that most of the time, so that is one thing. Other thing is the bliss that you feel when your mind is completely quiet, that is worth it. So they had a famous Sanskrit saying that says spiritual activity is about really understanding and transcending the suffering. That's one aspect. Other aspect is really taste this extreme blissfulness that happens when our mind is really quiet. You will be working something in the flow, like I mentioned earlier about the flow. So when you are in flow, when you are working, you are not spending so much of energy, but you're involved with the worker, you're enjoying that, and you don't feel the burden or anything like that. But then you spend few hours because you are immersed completely, and then your energies are continuously renewed. So these two benefits. First thing is why they say transcending the suffering is all the suffering is really in our brain, right? How we react to things and all that, So that is called uh, dukkha vritti. Vritti means a modulation of the mind that happens because of the we perceive this is a kind of suffering like our suffering, we will react like that too. But if that reaction is not there, the suffering or not. It's a complicated thing, but I'm just putting very, very bluntly, really simply. But basically, what it is once you understand what is our mind, what is our ego, what is our past, what is our future, and all that, what is to be in the present, how you can live life as it comes and face it as it comes, that itself cuts down the suffering, right? So, understanding the whole existential issues, understanding the whole life itself, and then attend to the life right here in front of us. That is where you have transcended the suffering and you are facing life as it is. Okay, so that is there. But then, more importantly, I think that neglected aspect is how quiet, how happy, how blissful, how really having this tranquility and harmony in the mind with this kind of pursuing all the steps I told you, the 8 steps, and that is there. So those people who have touched that awareness, they carried the awareness with them. They did other jobs, like you can engage in life, you can do a lot of stuff, but then you are in that awareness and working, not in thought and perpetual noise. You think when you need to. You use the thought as an instrument. So that's why these 40 days I was talking about these things very plainly, simply. But basically, if you are a modern man, generally you are exposed to a lot of information and sometimes information overload. And people are not doing anything to protect their brains from that. That's the purpose of this room, where I want to make people habit of morning and evening, especially when you get up and when you're going to bed. So those times when you move from night to day and day to night, those times you want to do this, then that will have a real, as a physician, I can see the benefit in so many ways. Today article that I put in the all over, I put it there. In that article, I talk about happy hormones. When you are giving something from your heart, what kind of hormones you have. The neuroscience tells us all those, the serotonin, oxytocin, and all that, right? They are very beneficial. So this silence also is like that. Prolonged silence is much more. So it's a question of understanding the mind with the mind, like a turning the mind on itself and studying it, understanding it, and then through that understanding acts through you. Not your knowledge, but your experience of silence acts through you. Okay. So any questions? Anything? Joyce is here. Joyce, if you want to come up, please come up. We'd love to hear from you. Anybody has any questions or any comments? Tell me, what do you think about this?
We're practicing quiet the mind.
That's okay too. But if you have some questions, I'd be happy to engage, and then we can have a discussion about it.
Yeah, the 8 steps, is it in your LinkedIn or on Wisdom again?
They are the practice of yoga in the true sense. See,
okay.
So yoga is not just just some physical exercises, but these are the real steps for the mind. I keep on telling people, yoga is really for the mind. Yoga is union of yourself with the universal self. So your self is above your mind. Your awareness has your thoughts. Say you are aware of the thoughts, right? Not the thoughts are aware of you. So the element of awareness is very important. Bring your awareness forth and push the thought back. That is what I was trying to tell you. And when you work in awareness, then thought becomes your instrument, not controlling force. So that's why these things are very important to understand. And actually, the people who are in awareness, they did a lot of things, but they are happy-go-lucky, really enjoying the moment as it comes, and also doesn't have this wavering. Okay, they get depressed when things are not good, and they will go up when they are really good. That kind of wavering of the mind will not be there. It's like what's called equanimous. If we can be equanimous to the pain and pleasure, happiness and unhappiness, that's very nurturing to people. So, people may come to it when they have some problems in the life and they want to understand that. But I think this has to be taught from the childhood, how to handle the movement of thought. Then kids can learn, but they can also learn about, these days we are doing it, time out. They say, time out and let's sit quietly and all with the young kids. Some schools I've seen that. That's a very good thing. Otherwise, we are throwing so much stuff at them. We are giving this smartphones 10 years of age or even less, and that is really causing a lot of damage. Like this today, Vivek Murthy, the Surgeon General, he talked about loneliness, right? One of the things he mentioned, which is true, is people are really hooked to the phones, and then they are not really cultivating their personal relationship. Everything is through text or everything through email and all that. People don't take time to put these things aside and sit down and talk to each other. That's very important. And that his argument is that also contributed to this epidemic of loneliness. I agree, because that is there are so many other factors for the loneliness that we see in so many places, but the loneliness leading to suicide, sometimes depression and suicide also. So it's a serious issue for us. Why they are not able to control that is because we are throwing more and more devices, more and more data, more and more unnecessary information at people and distracting them from being focused or concentrated. That's why attention span has gone down. I think it used to be 12 seconds before. Now they say it is below 9 seconds. So even the goldfish has more than 9 seconds, I believe. So that's how it has become. And
it is cool.
yeah. And then the other thing is the number of suicides that happened because of the young teenage girls who were using Instagram. I believe that is the study they did with the smartphones from 2010 to 2016, I think. That percentage of increase in the suicide rate was 184%. So that's a real tragedy. We are losing young girls who could have a lovely life and who can contribute and all that, right? That's a real tragedy, I think. And people are not paying attention to these things unless they happens to them. But we need to understand these things much deeper and also talk about it. And then one of the simple things is we need to leave the devices for a while every day. And then also the digital toxicity, which I talk about all the time. That means you don't want to look at the email all the time, only certain times. You don't want to engage in the social media all the time. And also learn how to really clean your mind after you go to rooms. Like even my room also. If I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you, which is nonsense for you, then throw it out. No, don't keep it in. Right, Ivy? Yeah, if you can cultivate that, then the mind will be mostly silent. Otherwise, what are called afflictions, they're kleshas in Sanskrit. What happens is a thought is thrown at you, your mind actually goes a little change. That's like you have a balloon, right? And then you throw something at it, and then it goes into the balloon and comes out, but then it doesn't break it. Then the balloon yields and makes a modulation with it, so it comes out. That's like that. You always have these modulations of the mind, and then that's repeated several times. They become your tendencies, and then they go into subconscious and store there and all. But if you are consciously thinking, consciously finishing off, not carrying it as a knowledge base or anything, that's a good way to keep the mind clean. Otherwise, you can reflect on the matter that you have perceived, and you can take what is real or important or permanent, something like that, and then rest of it to go away. So that's why if you are erudite, reading lots of books from outside, and if you are shrewd, if you are really clever, if you are really accumulating a lot of information, and that calmness is very, very important. And I suggest that you do that, and then you can experiment with yourself and see what happens. Then it will be okay. Okay. So it's all a question of understanding the need of it and how the modern world has changed. It's a good thing that we have the lot of things to make comforts and streamlining external world. But what about the inner world? How many people are not desperate? How many people are joyful and blissful? How many people are enjoying their relationship, their colleagues, their friends, and all that? That is going down in terms of quality, right? So that's the last time I'm going to describe what I was talking about. I want to keep it very simple. Only thing you want it is make it a daily thing that you could do it, and choose a place that's going to be free of any distractions there, and then try to do the same time, especially after you get up, in the morning, and then go and sit, and then sit in a chair with both your feet planted, and then your spine is straight. Then close your mouth and take a deep breath through the nose. Okay, take the breathe in, then the abdominal wall comes out when you take the deep breath, and then you kind of breathe out, the abdominal wall going towards the spine. That you can do up to 5 to 8 times, and then you can also feel the air touching your nose, tip of the nose. Then that's another 5 to 8 times, and then you kind of breathe in air with a sense that who am I, and then breathe out, saying that I'm not just this body and mind, but I am that awareness behind. If you can set up in your awareness, you establish yourself in awareness, that's a good thing I'm talking about. So this kind of exercise you do 5 to 15 minutes in the morning or in the evening. You can start even half a minute, 1 minute, okay? But prolong it. The very act of doing it after the night is over and the day is breaking, that's a good thing. And then at the night also try to repeat that and sleep on as much as possible positive thoughts, if not just complete silence. At least think of 10 positive things that you have done that day. And then do this exercise again at night time. And then also reflect on the reactions that you had through the day. Like you had an argument, you had a pleasant occasion, whatever the emotional reactions that you had, reflect on that and see whether they are valid, whether they are trivial, whether they are important, deep, and all that. And then write down whatever itinerary, everything is in the calendar, and then leave them alone and sleep. That's a very good exercise. If you can put all your identifications at the bedside, like I'm this particular doctor, informatician, yogi, or father, all those identifications. You don't want to identify with anything, but you want to be aware of those things. So a lot of people, when they retire, they lose that identification. They feel like they're lost. They are not anybody anymore. But actually, they are not that job. The job is a role. Say what you are inside is you, and people don't live with that. So that is the fundamental teachings of ancients, and they even went to the extent they said your purpose as a human being is to realize that you are that inner awareness, and that awareness has thoughts, that awareness has body and all that. So once you have that, then you can handle this body and mind as tools, and it is much more easier to not to have the problems that we have. I think I have done a good job just doing at least 40 days in a row. I have not done this before. This is the first time I did this. But I attach this calmness and silence and inner happiness is real. It's very important to cultivate it. So if anybody has any questions, I will stop and talk about it. Otherwise, we can conclude it, because you are all silent completely. That's good.
I like to say congratulations.
Yeah.
40 days. I wish I would have recorded from the beginning.
Yeah.
I can continue.
Yeah, it's not an achievement. It's more like I hope something touched somebody. Otherwise, everybody is talking about every other topic all the time, but they're not taking care of their mind, I believe. That's why I want to. Maybe they think it's crazy that I'm talking about these things. That's fine too. With the controversy, there's some discussion. But it's not about knowledge of understanding this, how it works. That is okay, but it is the experience. Are you experiencing this silent mind? Are you experiencing the benefits of that? Do you go deeper into things because of the silent mind? All those things you have to experience. It's like that's why these inner sciences are first-hand experience. That's where the scientific research has to happen. But whereas outward things, we have objective evidence and all that. Science is fine, but the inner sciences require that you are the subject and the subjective experience. So if I say silence, I don't make a word for you. But when you do that, when you experience that, then that's a totally different thing. And that is what is needed in inner sciences. The ancients were excelled in that, and they had so much wisdom there. That's why I kind of really appreciate them and really grateful to them that they have given us these tools. And they are very useful for us in the modern life. We don't have to go back there and all that, but we can understand how they kept their body, how they kept their wellness, how they lived not only long, lived well and in joy. What was the joy they were experiencing? What was the blissfulness they were experiencing? What was the peace, happiness? Those things definitely we should be looking at as modern people. If you are scientific, looking for the truth, then don't stop. Go and investigate. Have your own experience. Then you will feel what is going on. Okay.
So, Dr. Rao, I have a question.
Yeah.
You say that is 5 rules. The first rule is not cheating. Don't steal. Don't cheat.
Yeah.
Second rule is, what is it? Don't kill.
No. The first 5 rules are, there are 10 rules altogether. First rule is niyama. Yamas. Yamas means non-violent. Don't be violent, right? Second thing is don't lie, just to speak the truth, And then third thing is don't steal. And the fourth thing is be celibate. Don't expend your energy in, all sorts of sexual matters and all that, And then fifth one is don't accumulate. And then for that accumulation of things, you have to work it out. Keep it simple. Keep it what is needed. But don't go, that's what we do, right? We're accumulating a lot of things, and that is resulting in a lot of problems with the earth. We're producing all this, I think there's a consumerism, rampant consumerism is really the problem, right? That's why we are spoiling the weather so much, Most of people are not even aware of it, that they are contributing to the problem, all this commercial interest, they don't care about that, So they always want to do. So is there clarity now, Ivy? Ahimsa, that is non-violence. Satya, that is truth. Asteya, non-stealing. Brahmacharya is the celibacy. And then aparigraha, non-accumulation of things. That is the first 5 rules. Next 5 rules are saucha, that is cleanliness of the body and mind. Santosh, that is the contentment. Swadhyaya, self-study in whatever you do. And then not the bookish knowledge, but what is your inner experience and all that, right? And then tapas. Tapas is having some austerity so that you are steadfast in your spiritual practice, whatever kind of practice it is, And then fifth one is Ishvara Pranidhana. That Ishvara is like the force that is around us. You can call it God, you can call it energy, you can call it consciousness, whatever you want to. But that is the force is there that you kind of, kind of submissive to it, and or be aware of it, that it is there. Not like this small egoic self, but it is like you are part of the whole, and the whole is you too. So, clear now?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Actually, Sonia, somebody asked me to do a big talk on this, not talk, just several rooms on the Patanjali Yoga, because she was my student in my wellness club, right? So I made her aware of this book and contents and all that. I didn't speak to her much because she has to be with that, right? But then I told her we will do a series of talks on that, so that we can explore Patanjali Yoga Sutras, that the principles and how they can be applied. For me, they are very, very important and meaningful. And then the yoga practice physical is okay, but then for the mind, this is very important. Yeah. I think we have a guest on the wisdom app. Let's talk to him. Somebody wants to talk to me. That's good. Terry's son. Hi, Terry's son.
Oh, doctor, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Okay. So you have a question or comment?
Go again?
Are you having a question or a comment?
No, I just want to talk about the mind.
Yeah.
So, the mind, sometimes you have to take a break.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about here. Yeah.
Can you get me?
Yeah.
So you need to focus on your breath. Sometimes we need to focus on our breath, the way we talk, the way we do things.
Agreed. Yeah.
We need to listen to music.
Very good.
You know that music can help the mind.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
And we need to spend some time in nature.
Yeah.
You're a doctor.
Yeah.
And we need to try relaxation. We need to try to relax ourselves and think. We need to think.
Yeah, I talk about all these things. I agree with you, Tennyson. Music, especially the instrumental music, is very good to calm the mind. But the lyrics sometimes they initiate the thought patterns, and the people may go to the memories and all that. But it's the instrumental music that is classical, especially Baroque music from Europe, 16th century and all that. They are very good, and they are actually use the music to help the mind's power so that they can learn better any new material. They actually did conduct studies on that. They exposed students to the new music, and then they kind of made them to new material, and they were able to absorb much better and retain it better. So definitely music that is coming from a good soul, that has evolved soul, and that proved to be very lasting, long lasting. And I kind of listen to the classical Indian music because it was made thousands of years ago from these people who were concerned about their inner self, and they grew innerly, and outwardly they are very simple people. They didn't want any of the outward things like modern we have evolved into, but they had the soul there in their movement. Even the soul music from the south, the most of the people who are in the south, they were going through the life's suffering and experience, and it came from their soul, and that's why it's so good. When I went to New Orleans, I was listening to all this jazz music from people because my son is a jazz musician. He plays trumpet. That's why I'm introduced to jazz music. So I like that too. The same thing that's coming from the soul of the black people that they have done it, and that's why it appeals to us, all of us.
Okay. So bye for now. Stay blessed.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you, Teddyson. Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah. So it's good that I know we talk about this spending time with the nature, but then how do you spend the nature? When you go there and then you are involved with your own thought, or are you one with the nature? Are you completely absorbed in the flower, the beauty of it, without wanting to pluck it? So, oh, Angela, I forgot. I found that poem that I was going to give it to you. That song by the flowers, and that was I am good to send. But what I found was in that native language, and they said, oh, Angela is not able to understand this, so I'm going to sit down and translate it and then send you that. Okay. It's a long poem, though.
Thank you.
It's like
I know, but it's still gonna be nice. So like,
yeah, it's going to be nice.
In the garden tomorrow, but
yeah, but I
flowers for some of the questions are coming up.
Actually, there was a singer singing this poem, and then there was this entire poem translated in not translated, actually wrote in my language. I can read it, but you cannot read it. Even if you listen to the song, you may not understand because it's in that language, right? But there's a translation.
Once I read the poem, you can send it to me in your song. I can
understand it better. Yeah, I think you will enjoy the song. Song is beautiful too because that man puts all the pain of the flowers in this song. Like these flowers are about to be plucked by this man. Then all of them together, the flowers sing the song. Right? There's a poetry, right? They say, why, what did we do to you? Why are you plucking us? Why are you throwing us? Very nice meaning is there. So I'm going to, and then after you read that, let's talk about that, Angela. I think that will be good discussion for us. So it's basically knowing that there's life in the plants, and the plants are also not there just to be material for us, but they have their own life too. So we interfere with that. We kind of take all the resources. And that's why in yoga, when you eat these fruits and vegetables, you stop a minute and then you thank the life of them giving life to us. That's a prayer part of it. That makes you very sensitive about life on earth, not spoiling it. But I found the original version. Then I said, she cannot understand. I have to sit down. Then I was very busy making these videos for the courses and all that. And they came out okay. So I'm happy with that. But I will translate and send it to you. Okay. All right, I think you are coming too close to the top of the hour. Okay, so anything you or Joyce, you want to have a question? I'll stop there for a few minutes. Otherwise, I'll close the room now. Okay. Thank you. Angela, you came several times in these 40 days, and we had very good discussion about gardening, about so many dishes and all that, right? That was nice. I enjoyed that. So.
I enjoyed it too. It was really nice.
Yeah, okay. So hopefully somebody will pick it up and then try it out and say, feedback me what the experience was. But anyway, I put it out there, the recordings and everything. If anybody wants to read it, they're there. So if there are any questions, anything, you can always call me or send me DM and I'll respond to that. Thank you.
Is that in wisdom?
All over. They've sent me. I have to check everything. Clubhouse.
I said, where's the recording?
Oh, recordings on the wisdom. Even this room also should have been recorded.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so good. And then
I'll check some of them out.
And also there's a restream YouTube. YouTube. I think you go and check YouTube. Rao Kolusu, my channel, right? You go there and then that. I have today. I've seen I have 250 talks there. I don't ask anybody to come and join that, but that is there. Somebody asked for them, then I told them. Then they were aghast. Oh, so many talks are there. So that will be on the Facebook, and that will be on the Twitter, and that will be on the LinkedIn. They're all recorded all over the place. Okay, Angela, I'll see you next time whenever I see you. But I will send you this. Poem translation. Okay. Okay. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you again.
Yeah, you heard me. I said you can send me the song too. Thank you so much.
I will.
Everyone have a blissful night.
Yeah, me too. Okay.